It started with the Frederick Junior Women's Club in 1978. We started with nothing. I was the only employee. When I was hired, the original ad said, hardworking person, $10,000 a year. Then I was on call 24 hours a day. In the beginning, we were working with one desk and one chair in the basement of social services on Market Street. We didn't get into a shelter until December of 1981. In the meantime, when people really had to get out of violent situations, we used Masters Motel on the Golden Mile. Because some of the husbands or boyfriends would call every hotel in Frederick, they were all registered under my name. So sometimes I was staying in as many as 5 different rooms. One time in 1 month, I ate $900 worth of food. So, I mean, it was constantly evolving. You were just constantly trying to figure it out. Well, this is happening, so let's do this. I just called on anyone that would hear me speak. The more the word spread about the need, the more people volunteered. When we finally got the shelter, it was a duplex that we rented, so you couldn't go from one side to the other. So we needed a construction company to break holes in it and create doorways so we could go from one part to the other. So I called Osherman. I said, can you make doorways for us?
When Hartley House came to us, they had a couple of townhouses on Madison Avenue that they needed to utilize, and they needed to change their access so that the building served better for their purposes. My brother and my cousin stepped up, used our tradesmen to go in and do the renovations and fix them up. My father was very philanthropic. He led us to understand how we need to help the community. We follow that today in my family foundation, where we're called a place-based foundation. We only invest funds in Frederick County. Domestic violence is horrible, and people have so few places to go.
All kinds of things were happening to all kinds of people. The need was so great, and then every day trying to find out how to solve the problems. I think the most important is educating the community, educating the need for services for domestic violence. It can happen to anybody.
I'm a childhood survivor myself of childhood sexual abuse. I know when I first started sharing with my circle, I had 5 buddies that I wanted to let know where I was. 4 of the 5 were survivors themselves, and I never knew. And it was really at that point that I knew how epidemic the situation was. I had reached out to Hartley House almost 8 years ago, to establish a men's support group. They stepped right up, and ever since then I've been involved. I can probably count on my one hand how many groups there are nationally. And again, how blessed are we that we've got an organization here that stepped up and is embracing the impact to, an underserved segment.
When my brothers and my cousin went out to Hartley House to do the renovations of their first facility in the very beginning, today we're just moving on with the same tradition in the community of helping Hartley House. They came to us about 3 years ago and said, we would like to provide more outreach. They said, well, we really don't want to have people have to come down here. Maybe we'll go to Brunswick, maybe we'll go to Thurmont, maybe we'll go to Middletown. And we funded that initiative. Their traffic in those counseling centers doubled during that period of time. And that took initiative on their part. It wasn't a government program doing that. That was their reaching out to the community broadly.
Hartley House is more than a shelter. They are truly a pioneer in these services. Somewhere along the way, I was granted the strength and the fortitude to do this. and tell part of a story and help, the thousands of people out there that are still sitting in darkness. I learned quickly the more that I talked about it, and the more people I reached, the more benefit I got out of it. To be honest, I think I've come pretty close to reaching that goal of knowing who I am, accepting who I am and all that I am. Gosh, if I had Hartley House when I was 25, what a difference that would have made. And when I see some of the younger men in the group that Hartley House supports, I mean, how life-changing and how awesome is that they're not going to have to endure the silence and the pain that I endured for so long.
I think one of the best things about Frederick County is the caring, the generosity. Here we are in 2026, and it's still evolving, helping people, educating the community, and thriving with the mission. I think it's in very, very good hands.